throughout the year, I give special pujas for individuals, for certain people, groups, families, businesses, sometimes an endeavor. If they want to start something, they want to do something, sometimes before they go on a journey or a trip. And for Dharma institutions. And there are many, many, many types of very potent, powerful pujas. And I don't give pujas to people because it comes from my tradition, or that I'm just used to it, or I'm comfortable. I give it because I have 100% conviction that the pujas really work. If you have 100% conviction in the pujas, and you do all the way, and you follow your lama's instructions or divination's instructions, the pujas will have result. If you do it halfway, the result will be halfway. If you don't complete it, then maybe what was supposed to happen will not happen. Example, if this was supposed to come here to here, if you do a puja, maybe this will come here and come back to you again. If you don't do the puja, it comes here, it cannot return anymore. You don't do the puja. So finishing the puja is very important, very, very important. I have 101 conviction in pujas because it happened to me. It happened to me. So I've seen the results of pujas. There was another time where in our lajang, there was a lot of arguments. Just very weird. You know, people not getting along, a lot of disturbances, and just from small things, people will become disturbed and unhappy in our lajang, in the monastery. And then one monk will go up and complain to Khyentse Rinpoche to the younger ones, and another one will go complain, another one will complain, and the Khyentse Rinpoche told all of us, quiet, nobody talk anymore, quiet. We need to do this puja, this puja, this puja, this puja. So we did it. We followed Rinpoche's instructions, because in our society, even if we're very boiling, we're angry, we're not happy, if our guru says something, we just totally listen. We're brought up that way. So we immediately listened to Rinpoche, we stopped arguing, we stopped talking, and we did the pujas. After the pujas are done, you know, the whole feeling lifted. This negative feeling lifted, this unhappy feeling lifted, everything just totally lifted. And the monks don't even remember what they were unhappy about. Nobody talked anymore. So pujas make a huge difference, and I've seen this. Puja literally means to clear. To clear. And we do our pujas well, and we're committed, we will get some results. We will get some results. The worst thing is to ask the Lama for pujas. And then you spend the money to do it. And then you don't complete it. You don't do your side of the bargain. Then it doesn't get complete. You wasted everybody's effort. That's the worst. All right? So I know pujas work. So I get consulted for pujas for decades now. Decades. And almost all the time. And the pujas that I've recommended to people on a personal basis, some people come to me because they have possessions, spirit problems. They see things, they hear things. It's real, you know. I used to not like talking about it because I thought it's kind of like, you know, too mysterious. Spirits are real. Some people come to me because they're going on a big journey, or they have big businesses, or they want to start something. And if they do their pujas well, continuously, they will definitely have results. There are pujas that we do to clear, okay? Pujas means to clear. In Tibetan, we call it shabdan. Shabdan means to make your life firm. There are pujas that a person themselves do daily. There are pujas that the monks do for you, or other people do for you. There are pujas that you do in a group. There are pujas you do individually. There are some pujas you do only at night. There are some pujas that you have to do at the place. There are some pujas you do anywhere. Example, some Naga pujas related to a certain type of beings called Nagas, you should do at that place where the Nagas reside, unless you're very powerful in your meditations, because then you can summon them. But if you're not powerful, then you should do the pujas there where those beings reside. Okay? There are some pujas you do individually. Example, a puja can be simple like this, because when I come to Malaysia, It's a whole new, rich, and different, unique culture. So I can't do what the Tibetans do there exactly here. So I need to modify the pujas here. Modify it. And to make it more suitable for people. I do not change the essence of the pujas. I don't have authority to do that. But I modify it to make it easier. For example, some people, I tell them, if you want this person to heal, don't drink any alcohol for 6 months and dedicate it for the sick person. It's free and easy. You save a lot of money. And it's how much you want to do it. It's how much you care. So if this person is important to you, 6 months of alcohol, I mean, every day if you're like, dancing in the streets because you're happy, because you have a little bit of spirits. So for 6 months you don't dance in the streets, you sit home and dance with yourself. If this person is enough, you don't drink. There are pujas, for example, for people who want to extend their lives for other people, to go vegetarian for a year, go vegetarian for 6 months. And that matches because in the Chinese tradition of Buddhism, they have the same thing, to swear to Kuan Yin to go vegetarian for a year for a person or for life. So it's not, Buddhist traditions are pretty much the same, it's just how they manifest in each culture is slightly different. So a puja can be, don't drink for 1 year. Don't drink for 6 months. That could be a puja. Why? When you don't drink and you purposely don't drink and you control yourself, you're changing a karma for something else later. Okay? Then you have pujas where you can ask people to do actual pujas for you. Where they set up offerings on the altar, they set up the specified bowls, the specified ingredients, they put up the specified amount of ritual items they need, and then they do the right liturgies, the recitation, the meditations, and the mantras, and that can change one's karma. It doesn't delete your karma. No one can delete your karma, not even Buddha, but it can transform your karma. I give you an example. If you have a spirit in your house, which I get this all the time. I got a divination yesterday. Is my sister haunted? She's been acting strangely. I get this all the time. I'm not making fun of the person, but I find it kind of very normal around here. There might be a spirit in the house because you have offended someone somewhere. So the spirit follows you and stays in the house. So if you do a puja, the spirit is at peace and happy. You don't pray to the spirit goes back. You don't get any more harm. There are many times. So there are specific and specified offerings and liturgies and things you need to recite for the puja that will make a huge difference in what you want to achieve. So I've always given this example, and it's the best example I like. For example, if you have a big mountain and you have glaciers and ice and snow up there, and you know that every year at this time the weather warms up and it's going to melt and it's going to come down as a river. Normally the river is very narrow, very small, but during this time the river will become very big because it melts more. Well, if there's a village down there and the river comes down torrential and strong, it will wipe out the village. And many people will die. So if you know that's going to happen before the snow melts, what you do is you dig trenches to circumvent and go around the village. You build one, you dig one through, you dig one this way, you dig another this one. So when the force of the river comes, it breaks the force of the water, it goes around the river, nobody gets harmed. In fact, you can go out and have a picnic and take a bath in a nice, fresh glacial river. But if you sit there, oh, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to do anything, when the water comes, it's going to be tsunami time, just knock you down, knock you over. Pujas are like that. What Lord Buddha says, what karma we have, we must experience one way or another, is absolutely the truth. What Lord Buddha says, that whatever karma we have accumulated, we must experience, is the absolute truth. Okay? So, therefore, pujas do not contradict the law of cause and effect or karma. Pujas are methods that Buddha or other enlightened masters have given us to make things easier for us. Okay? So therefore, one of the most earliest pujas that were very effective and very powerful was this, is when Buddha was alive, you have to understand he was a prolific teacher. And many people in his entourage achieved arhatship. And there are many levels of arhatship, A-R-H-A-T-S-H-I-P, arhatship. And arhats have different types of powers. Some are able to control the weather. Some have perfect retentive memory. Some can walk very fast, as if they're going in a car. These arhats can attain many types of power. So many of the arhats during Buddha's time had achieved through meditation retentive memory, means memory that cannot forget. So whatever they hear, it's never forgotten. Wouldn't that be great for most of us here? Yes, most of us. Because the favorite word I get around here is I forgot. I wish some of you with those memory retaining arhats would be really easier for me. Well, in my case, I'm not a Buddha and my students are not arhats, so here I go. My arhats around here have non-retentive memory attainments. Now, I know some of you are thinking, why achieve a retentive memory? We just keep an iPad. Yeah, all right. Now, so whatever the Buddha taught in his over 40 years of living on this planet, okay, many attempts to kill Buddha, many attempts to poison him and defame him and really destroy him, but no one can destroy him or defame him or kill him because he doesn't have the karma to be harmed. Buddha, Shakyamuni, or any Buddha doesn't have the karma to be harmed, so they cannot be harmed. All karma has been eliminated, hence they're enlightened. Now, whatever he taught in the 40 years, he taught on many levels, different paths for different people. His students can retain. They are very pure, very attained. These arhats like Mogdalaya, Shariputra, very, very attained. So wherever they go, if you ask them to recite 40 years of teachings from the Buddha, they can literally sit there and recite the whole thing perfectly. This is recorded. And then likewise, when the Buddha entered parinirvana, because they were so close to the Buddha, his students were these great arhats, and then their students also achieved retentive memory. And they can recite. So even 2, 3, 4 generations after Lord Buddha has passed away, his indirect disciples can recall and recite perfectly what he had taught when he was alive. So even 2, 3 generations, 4 generations, 5 generations after Lord Buddha, those disciples who have never even seen Buddha through the power of meditation, specifically Vipassana, Shamatha, or we call Dinginzu, they attain retentive memory. Perfect. Not only the teachings, so that means the teacher will recite the teachings of Buddha to them, they will listen once, they memorize it, they can recite it perfectly back. Perfectly. After 500 years, after Buddha's parinirvana, after 500 years, this power and ability to achieve it started to wane. So you started getting some of the disciples who can recite this part of it, not this part. Some can recite this part, not this part. Some can recite just this part and not this part. So there was only a few arhats left who can recite the teachings of Buddha in its entirety. So the Council of Sangha conveyed a meeting. They invited all the great masters and scholars and great teachers and arhats from all over the length and breadth of India. They convened the Council of Sangha for the first time. And when they convened that, they decided and they unanimously voted to write and record down Buddha's teachings before the last of the arhats are gone. Why? Once the arhats are gone, no one can remember the teachings, and the teachings will be gone. What's more important than the Buddha himself is his teachings. Do not rely on me, rely on my teachings, Buddha said. So therefore, they assemble all the arhats. Some can remember the whole corpus of teachings that Buddha gave in the 41 years he was teaching. Some only gave part, some gave part, but they got together in a huge assembly and they recited. One recited and another record. A huge group of them recorded. They wrote it down. Then this one will recite, and then if this one had any mistakes, they say, no, it's like this. And then there were a few that remembered the whole thing, that sat through the whole thing, everything and listened, and they recorded these teachings. And these teachings came out to be 108 volumes. Hence the number 108 is very auspicious for Buddhists. Okay, it wasn't 108 auspicious before that, as far as I know. It became auspicious because all of the teachings that Buddha spoke, when they recorded down, become 108 volumes. And you know, we're not talking about these teeny little thin books you're talking about. Because some of you look like that, wow, so thick, I have to read all this out, wow. You have not seen the 108 volumes. The 108 volumes is called Kangyur. K-A-G-Y-U-R, Kangyur. Ka means mouth, gyur means to recite. It's a direct speech of Buddha. That's what the teachings mean. And they were in the original Sanskrit language preserved, and they were translated 1,000 years ago into Tibetan. The Tibetan king at that time specifically sent people to train up and form a language. Do you know why Tibetan language was formed? It was formed to accommodate Buddhism. Before the advent of Buddhism in Tibet, there's no written language. They're just spoken. You know, the Tibetans grunt. That was it. There was no written language. So the great kings of Tibet at that time sent people to learn from the Indians, and they formulated an alphabet, not a language, based on the Indian script. That's why Tibetan written language goes left and right. It looks just like Indian if you don't know it. And it has 30 letters, 26 consonants, and 4 vowels formed on the basis of that. And that language was formed in order to translate all of Buddha's teachings into Tibetan. So the Tibetan language written was formed specifically to translate Buddhism into Tibetan. Otherwise, they had no motivation to have a written language. Like I said, people remember what you grunted yesterday. Whatever sounds you made yesterday, they remember. It's not that hard. That's very unique about the Tibetan language, just for one thing I read. Now, so the enormous task of translating the Kangyur into the Tibetan was done. And I want you to remember the teachings that we have in Tibetan Buddhism all come directly from India because we're neighbors. The Tibetans cannot make up anything themselves. Whatever they have learned from father, guru, mother, India. Now, one Kangyur volume, we don't have here because it's about 24 to 25,000 ringgits to invite one set. We want to invite one set in the future for the temple. If we put it now, we don't have a place right now. But every monastery, every temple, every center should have one because that is a very bigger object of prostration than the statues. Bigger. So one volume of the Kangyur is about this big, this long, okay? And this thick. That's one volume. And there are many holy old monks who do Kangyur retreats. You know what that is? Is when every day they do prostrations, they take refuge, they make offerings, they wake up early in the morning, they recite the Kangyur. And it takes a monk 1 year plus to recite through the whole Kangyur, doing about 8 to 10 hours a day. And that's their retreat. So when you say to the monk, can you recite this for me? They say, no problem. No problem at all. But of course, if you show a Malaysian that we have to do a Lam Rim retreat, I've had it on Facebook. So thick, the whole thing. No, you don't read the whole thing. You just read the description. Here, just read that and the retreat's done. You just read that 100 times, everything's fine, your whole world changes. Yeah, they write that on Facebook, the whole thing. And when I saw that on Facebook, that people said, oh, we have to read this whole thing. You know what I thought? I thought, ooh, wait till I put KH in a Kangyur retreat. I was actually thinking that. Can you imagine all of you in a Kangyur retreat? And you know what? We can sponsor the monks in Ganden to do a Kangyur retreat. It's very powerful. And I'm going to explain why. I'm going to get to my point. I'm going to explain why. Because what I'm talking about leads to what I'm going to say. So the monks can do a Kangyur retreat. And with 3,000 monks reciting through the Kangyur, they'll finish in, 2-3 days. Why do we do a Kangyur retreat? So anyways, the teachings of the Buddha has been translated 100% into Tibetan. Those are called the Kangyur, K-A-G-Y-U-R. And in normal tradition, in centers and monasteries, they would make beautiful shelves, and some would even paint gold, real gold. Like in Thailand, they put gold on Buddha's faces. They paint gold on the shelves. They'll put decoratives, they'll put jewels onto the shelves because it will house Lord Buddha's speech. And people would prostrate to the Kangyur. When I was a kid in Howell, New Jersey, we had a Buddhist Kalmyk temple there on East 5th Street. And I didn't know it at that time, but when we went into the center that time, the first thing is His Holiness the Dalai Lama's throne. Behind that is the altar. On the left is the throne of the founder of the monastery, and then on the right is the protective throne. It's the throne of Benden Hamel. Then behind the throne immediately, on the left and right, there were shelves and shelves of huge Tibetan texts. I didn't know what it was, but I know that every time we go in there, we have to touch our head to the texts. Not to each text, but to the table where it enshrines the text. Now I know why. Now I know why. Because when you touch your head to the text, you plant the imprint in the future to understand those texts. The complete corpus of Buddha's teachings. And those 108 volumes contain the 84,000 skillful teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha. So you say, oh, but I don't understand it, I can't read it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you can understand it or not. Good is good. When you were a kid and your mother tells you to brush your teeth, you didn't understand it. You grow up, now you know why. Those who brush your teeth have white, clean, beautiful teeth like me. You don't need to know why if something's good for you, do you? You just do it. You look at your mother, why would she hurt you? You look at your guru, why would he hurt you? Why would your guru give you something that would hurt you, that would damage you, that would disturb your life or make you suffer? So if the teacher gives you some instructions that you think makes you suffer, that's your wrong view. The teacher would never give you something that suffers. You suffer not because your teacher makes you suffer. You suffer is because you don't want to overcome your problem. You don't want to overcome your particular attachment or problem or difficulty. So that's your problem, that when a teacher gives you something and you find it difficult, oh, why wouldn't you give me like that? Oh, why wouldn't you give me this? Why? The problem doesn't come from your teacher, it comes from you not wanting to do something and you want a quick fix. So the suffering comes from that. The great monasteries in India, before they were destroyed, such as Odivisha, such as Nalanda, and I visited Nalanda Monastery, the ruins. It's huge in India, huge. It's one night away from Bodh Gaya. The Bodh Gaya monasteries, they contain thousands of Buddhist masters, great Indian masters and great Indian teachers, thousands. I visited the ruins. And you know, from there, even a key holder, meaning one that takes the duty of locking up the monasteries, were scholars. In the ancient Indian monasteries, the ones that locked up the monasteries, make sure the place was secure, make sure the places were clean, make sure the altars were done up, make sure everything was done well, were not the nobodies. They were the scholars who did it because it was considered an honor to safeguard the Sangha and its property. So even someone who runs around cleaning, it's like, oh, you know, it's like, hi, what's your name? My name is Gim Lee. Oh, no, it's not Gim Lee, it's Geshe Gim Lee. Because that time, the Gimlis and the Tatmings are all big erudite scholars. They're the ones who had the responsibility of holding the keys and locking up and cleaning up. So the ones sitting on the throne, what's your name? Oh, my name is Tom. They don't know much. Really, it was like that. So Atisha was one of those great teachers. After the Tibetan language written had been formulated, then the Tibetan kings were having a lot of rivalry and fighting. So this chieftain of this area in Tibet, this chieftain, that chieftain fought, they captured. They captured one particular king called Yeshua. And the nephew wanted to release him from jail because he's quite old already. And so the people who captured him said, well, I'll release your king if you give me his weight in gold. So the nephew loved his uncle, king or not. And the people wanted their king back. So they ran around all over collecting donations and gold and trinkets and all that stuff, you know. And so they prostrated to the great scholar, full length. And they relayed the story of the king to this scholar. And of course, the scholar's name is the great Joa Shri Dipam Jara Atisha, or in short, the great Atisha. And Tibetans call him Jorje. Jorje. Okay, Atisha. very humble, very simple monk, very knowledgeable. And they relayed the story. And the monk was like, he didn't want to go, he didn't want to leave, he didn't want to go to Malaysia, in Tibet. No, he didn't want to go to Malaysia, Tibet. When he heard the story, he cried. And he was so moved. And you know what he said? He folded his hands back to the entourage. And he says, I, as a humble monk, cannot refuse the instructions and requests of a bodhisattva. Meaning that the king in Tibet is a bodhisattva, to sacrifice himself for others. Get the permission of my abbot and I will come. So the gold they offered to Atisha, if it was me, I would be in Switzerland immediately deposited. But with him, he gave it to the monastery. He gave all the gold to the monastery, and they went to the abbot, they explained, the abbot says, fine, I'll let you off for a certain amount of time, but you have to come back. So with great pomp and circumstance, with preparations and, the things that he needed and everything he wanted, he went. He went to Tibet with them, and he arrived. Before he left for Tibet, he did mandala offerings and prayers, and he invoked his Yidam, the great Buddha Tara. And Tara appeared to him, resplendent, shining in a burst of light. And he asked Tara, would it be beneficial if I go to Tibet, because I'm already old? And Tara says, if you go to Tibet and you stay, it will make the Buddhadharma spread tremendously. Not particularly during his lifetime, but as a result of it will spread, and that's what happened. Tara's prophecy came true. And not only on top of that, is it beneficial? Tara says, I will bless you for this journey, go. Benefit others. There are many scholars here, so you go there. You will benefit them more there than here. Because there, he doesn't need to teach many people. There's a lot of scholars. So he went, and when he arrived, he started giving teachings. Small monasteries started to appear. Small groups of people started to practice Dharma, become monks. It was very difficult because the mainstream religion of Tibet at that time was shamanistic, was Pempo or Pen. And I'm not criticizing that regional religion. So there was a lot of obstacles. The Pen masters at that time, because they were shamanistic, they were nature worshippers. They were very powerful magicians, some of them. And they would create a lot of thunder, a lot of sleet and hail to disturb Atisha's teachings. So if Atisha was giving teachings to a small group, they'd make a lot of hail and a lot of rain, make their tents collapse. There were a lot of obstacles. And Atisha had problems securing sponsorship. He had problems getting people to stick around. The culture was different. You have to understand, he spoke Indian language, whatever language that was at that time, Bengali. And the Tibetans spoke Tibetan, they grunted. So there's this language problem. They didn't need visas and work permits though. And there was cultural differences, language problems. Translators were not easy. So there's all these problems that Atisha had to go through, and the monastery started to grow a little bit, very slowly. Very, very slowly. In Atisha's life, it didn't go like that. But in Atisha's life, it became like that and firm and strong. So from his disciple, it grew bigger and bigger and bigger till it came to Lama Tsongkhapa, and Tsongkhapa made it huge. The lineage and the teachings that Atisha taught the first Tibetans, that lineage is called Kadampa. So that is pre-Geluk. That is Geluk reincarnated. That Kadampa is Geluk reincarnated as Geluk. So the teachings that Atisha gave were Kadampa. And they focused on pure monkhood, pure vows, holding monks' vows purely, holding bodhisattva vows purely, studying the sutras very, very well, meditation, deep practice, simplicity. And Atisha was a master of Tantra. So when it came time for him to go back to Tibet, because he had promised his abbot to go back at a certain time, a war broke out, luckily for Tibet. A war broke out at the border of Nepal. Tibet and Nepal, he couldn't. If he go, they'll be killed. It was very dangerous at that time. So he had no choice. And he consulted Tara. And Tara said to him, if you remain in Tibet, your life will be shortened by 13 years. If you go back to India, you will live 13 years longer than if you had stayed in Tibet. So Atisha thought about it, and he said to Tara, I give my life. If it means 13 years of shortening my life for the Tibetans and bringing them Dharma, I will do so. And he made that pledge to Tara. And he stayed. So, but to not break his promise, because these days people just SMS Rinpoche, sorry, I got flat tire, cannot make it. No, that time when you make a promise, it's a promise. It's real. You don't keep breaking your promises. That's why Atisha can become so great, because they keep their promises. It's called Samaya. Now, he wrote a teaching, The Lamp to the Path of Enlightenment, which is condensed from all the Buddha's teachings into one single book. Can you imagine that? That's why I told you what the Kangyur was and where it came from. I thought it would relate. That's why you guys are here. I'm going to give you knowledge. That's how the Kangyur relates to Lam Rim. So he wrote this path, A Lamp to the Path of Enlightenment. And who told me this story? The great eminent master of Gandhin Shartse Monastery, Geshe Tsurim Gyaltsen. In Los Angeles, in TDL, Tibetan Darjeeling Center, Los Angeles, Geshe gave us these teachings and gave us this explanation. I listened to it once, and I'm relating to you exactly what he told us. Before he commenced the Lam Rim teachings, he taught us that. So I sat there. I was a little, very skinny, very good-looking young man. They thought I was James Dean. They used to call me James. I told them, no, it's Bircha. Anyways, he told us, so I'm relating to you what my teacher told me in LA 25 years ago. Now, because he couldn't go back and he was stuck, he couldn't fulfill his promise, yet he doesn't send an SMS to his guru saying, well, too bad, there's a war. He had to send something back because he can't refuse a Sangha. He cannot lie to a Sangha. Anyone who wears the robes you don't lie to and show disrespect, it's considered very bad for your practice. Very bad. That's why in Thailand, even when they give one drink to a Sangha, they get on their knees and put it on in their bowls. Oh yes, the Sangha is very important. So therefore, yes, I'm saying that because you'll respect me. I deserve some respect. I've worked hard in Tibet here. I mean, in Malaysia. Okay, so he composed it. A whole synthesis of Buddha's teachings into one book from beginning to end, so that if you practice this book, you will have a whole path of Buddha's teachings. In fact, the Kangyur in one book. Why? Because there are a lot of people who can't study 108 volumes in their lifetime. Can you imagine Gimli studying the Kangyur? After one volume, it's time for her to go to Sukapati. I mean, it's so thick and big. So, after he composed it, he wrapped it in a very, very beautiful cloth with some gold coins and some offerings, and he sent it off with some traders who were non-conspicuous. And they journeyed back to India. They went back to the monastery, and it was offered to the abbot with an apology from Atisha saying why he could not return as he had promised, and to forgive him because he has broken his promise to the Sangha and to the abbot. Please forgive him, because as a monk, as a practitioner, it's very bad to break the command of the Sangha. So then the abbot read the text. The abbot was amazed, because before this, no one had condensed Buddha's teachings into one text. There are parts of the Kangyur that's condensed into this text, parts of that into this text, like the emptiness teachings are in this text, the wisdom teachings are in this text, you know, the teachings on love are on this text. It's broken up, but on one, nobody had done so. So the abbot wanted to make sure he gathered a panel of scholars in the whole monastery. So the scholars all sat on their elevated cushions, just like Genla here, all on elevated cushions. And then the monks sat behind, and all the scholars read his text simultaneously. And they debated on his text. And they wanted to find fault, not for the sake of it, but just to make sure. Not one single scholar can come out with one fault. Not one single master can come out with anything wrong. And they were all shocked that it can be in one text. So they all put their stamp of approval. The abbot, the Sangha, the scholars, the masters, all put their stamp of approval that this text, the lamp to the path of enlightenment, is genuine. It has fit the criteria of the Sangha. It is without fault, and it is okay to study this text. It will not mislead you. Because Writing text is a big responsibility. You don't just simply write what you want and give it because people practice it. Instead of becoming a Buddha, they might... You know what I mean? Like Geshe Paul S.K. Yap writes a path to enlightenment through KD. In short, it's called KD Lam Rim. You practice it for 10 years, you come out. Okay, you can't just come out. So they're very strict because it has to adhere to Buddha's teachings. It has to be real. You cannot lead people astray. You cannot simply make a teaching and just teach people and give it to them. That's what's called a lineage. You cannot. And it's still that way today. I've sent all my books to the monastery. No word yet. No replies yet, but it's all been sent twice. I guess no news is good news. I know some of you smart people think, but nobody there speaks English. I know. Yeah, I was pretending I'm some kind of, weird Atisha sending my books to the monastery and no word is good word. So yeah, my books are all in the monastery. They are. They're with the disciplinarian, they're where Purun comes in, they're with the monastery staff, they're with the library. All our KMP things are there. They were delivered by all of our clowns who went there recently. Actually, I sent the whole packet to Genlo Sanshi. He went to offer it to the ex-abbots and everyone. He made the offerings. And I asked them, what did they say? They said, oh, it's good, 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 good. They went like this. They looked at it, they went, oh, it's good, 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 good. I was like, because, one of the books came back. No, I'd be like, Where have they get you guys to give it all back? So my book, Nothing Changes, it'll be Everything Changed. But nothing came back so far. Okay, now, so they gave their stamp of, and I'm telling you, I may make this sound funny, but it's very serious. The whole monastery approved of Atisha's book. He has the stamp of authority from the masters, the arhats, the meditation people, all the geshis there, all said it's fine, that it is valid to study from this text. So this tradition of Lam Rim was passed down to a Atisha student in Tibet, to their student, became widespread. And there were several versions. And when the incomparable second Buddha, Gyalwanipa Chenpo, Tsongkhapa Chenpo, when Lama Tsongkhapa appeared, he collected all the Lam Rim texts, all that was available. And along with his voracious study of all lineages, Kagyu, Nyingma, Sakya, he studied them thoroughly. Along with his voracious study and meditations and retreats and teaching schedule, he studied the text of Atisha and the variations of it. And he meditated on it. Not only did he study, he meditated on it and to see if he received signs. And after he meditated on the text, he received signs, he combined the text into one text, Tsongkhapa's Lam Rim. Then Tsongkhapa taught this extensively. And many people in Tibet, from time of Tsongkhapa to current, receive great attainments from studying this text and meditating. There will be people who go into Lam Rim retreats. They go in for 3, 4, 5 years. They lock themselves in a cave. They just recite Om Arabazanadi, Manjushri's mantra, and they study the text and they meditate. Kyabji Pabonka did that. Kyabji Pabonka Rimji was a third-rate scholar in Sera Monastery. Let me repeat, okay? This is really sinful. Third-rate, meaning he didn't finish his Geshe degree. He got an honorary Geshe, which means Lingze Geshe. Lingze Geshe is someone who gives you, just because you finished class, okay, Lingze Geshe, get lost. Yeah, he didn't finish his Geshe. He's not a scholar. And Pabonka Rimji in Sera Monastery was considered quite dull and not very quick and kind of fat. Yes, but I'm quick. Anyways, yeah, so he's not, people don't go to him for teachings, People don't go to him for advice. They don't go see him, nothing. He wasn't really sought after. And then he traveled to, after he finished his studies in the monastery, which nobody recognized, nobody cared, nobody thought anything. Nobody. When Saramji's previous life finished his Geshe degree, he debated in front of the 13th Dalai Lama for his final test. The 13th Dalai Lama says, oh, Song Lama studied very well. I give him number 2 in the whole land. Number 2. The Dalai Lama himself ordered that. Pabonka didn't have a chance to debate in front of Dalai Lama because he was considered nothing. Really, this is what Kensho Losang Tangirumji said his student. Nothing at all. And so he traveled to a distant Tibet, and he met his guru called Tapo Dorjichang, Tapo Rinpoche. And when he met Tapo Rinpoche, when he saw the monastery, he got off his horse and he prostrated all the way up to the monastery. So I mean, Tibet's like that. When he arrived at this point, when he reached this, he can see the monastery in the distance. He got off his horse and he prostrated all the way to the monastery to show respect to his teacher. And then he requested teachings. And you know what the teacher taught him? Listen to this. After 20 years of studying in the monastery, the teacher taught him Lamrim, Tsongkhapa's Lamrim. The teacher would teach him a few pages from one chapter and put Pabongka in the retreat house. So in Tapo Rinpoche's monastery, they have many rooms. Pabongka was put into one room to meditate. And after a few days, he'd come back, and then the teacher would ask him, what did you experience in your meditation? What realizations came to your mind? What feelings did you get? Not visions, huh? Not visions, knowledge. Pabongka would say like that, not good enough, go back. And it took him years to finish the Lam Rim book, years. Pabongka not only recited, he meditated. And then every time he passed a few pages, then the guru would give him more and more and more. He would go back and meditate. And by the time Pabongka Rinpoche finished the last page of Lam Rim by Tsongkhapa, the last page, he had full realization. He could have visions of Hiruka. He had visions of Tara. He had visions of Medicine Buddha. He had visions of Vajrayogini. This is what it says. Other deities, I don't know, but this is what it says. He gained perfect memory. He gained quiescence of meditation, which means total calmness. He can control weather. This was reported. Because there were people who tried to kill Pabongka and send black magic to him. He can control the weather in that area. Because they used the weather deities in that area to try to kill him with wind and fire and all that. He can control it by meditation. But he was very humble. And so, he, after meditating on the Lam Rim, example, Dromo Geshe Rinpoche meditated on Vajrayogini. He did 10 million Tsongkhapa's mantras. Then he did 10 million Vajrayogini mantras. After that, he gained attainments. But in Pabongka's case, he gained it by Lam Rim. So he gave his incredible teaching. And Trijang Rinpoche's biography said Trijang Rinpoche traveled for over 1 month by horseback from another part to join the teachings. And Pabongka gave teaching to 700 people. And every part of the teaching was the root text was from Tsongkhapa and Atisha. And the notes were written by Trijang Rinpoche. So during that historic teaching of Lam Rim, historic, Pabongka gave all his lineage and practices and teachings to the great Trijang Rinpoche because Pabongka knew by clairvoyance he will not make it out of Tibet. He will pass away. And that Trijang Rinpoche will make it out to Tibet and proliferate the teachings. So he gave, like pouring one cup into another cup, he poured all his knowledge to his disciple. And he told Trijang Rinpoche to compose a text. So Trijang Rinpoche composed this text, which was spoken by Pabongka, written down by Trijang Rinpoche. So I want to tell you how important this text is. Let me tell you why. It contains the writing, the original writing of Atisha, with commentary from Tsongkhapa and Pabongka. So when you study this text, you're studying the text of 3 enlightened masters, Atisha, Tsongkhapa, and Pabongka. And if that's not enough for your dish, you can add chili padi to your little noodles. Trijang Rinpoche wrote it. And Trijang Rinpoche and Pabongka Rinpoche, there is no doubt, and they are enlightened, and they are great scholars, great masters, very attained meditation masters. There is no doubt. So when you recite the Lam Rim, you are reciting the blessed works and teachings of Atisha, Tsongkhapa, Pabongka, in Kyabje Trijang Dorjichang, in one book. So when you see the Lam Rim book, it is the 84,000 teachings of Buddha combined into one book, written by who? Atisha. Approved by who? His monastery in Bodh Gaya. And then studied by Tsongkhapa, and Tsongkhapa added more notes to elucidate it clearly for his people. Then later Pabongka studied it, taught it, and put more notes to it to elucidate it even further for people. Why do masters do that? As times go down, it becomes more degenerate. It's harder to understand the teaching, so we need someone to elucidate it clearer. So when you're reading the Lam Rim, It is the combined teachings of 84,000 teachings of Lord Buddha, Kangyur, written by Atisha, taught by Lama Tsongkhapa, and further elucidated by Pabongka and recorded down by Trijang Dorjichang, Trijang Rinpoche, who is the tutor of the 14th Dalai Lama. So you see how great and beautiful and powerful and so beneficial the 14th Dalai Lama is. So powerful. Well, his knowledge came from Trijang Rinpoche. If the disciple is that great, the teacher must be the same. Oh. All right? So now let me teach you something else that Khyentse Losang Tachin taught us. When you touch any Dharma text, let's start with the Lam Rim. If you touch any Dharma text, make sure your hands are clean. Make sure the Dharma texts are always placed on a high place, never on the floor. Never. And it should not be together with your Time magazine and with your other magazines and with house and decor and your menus and all that and your travel itinerary. Never, never. It should be left away. And you should always wrap it in something clean and beautiful, like a brocade, if you can afford it, or anything. Even if a plastic bag clean, put it in, never mind. It should be clean. You should not abuse it, damage it. You keep it very well. Because you know why? These teachings contain all the teachings to enlightenment. These are Buddha's words. This is Buddha's words. The Lam Rim is so powerful, Kyabje Sorenji said that if someone was dying and you don't know what to do, there's no monks around, and it's just you, it's just Gimli and Tapming in that room. Geshe Gimli and Geshe Tapming in that room. They're not bad, but they're not a monk. So if you only got Gimli in the room, or maybe just Theory or Wang, then you get a Lam Rim book and put it on the person who's dying's head and recite any mantra or prayer, or even recite Buddha's name, Shakyamuni. And it will help the person take a good rebirth. That's how powerful this book is. And every family, everyone should have it and read through it, whether you understand it or not. Not only that, those who are virtuous and those who are meritorious will sponsor the reprinting of it to make it available. And when you pick it up respectfully, and immediately you should touch it to your head, thinking that a copy of it dissolved into you, blessed by Buddha's words. When you finish reading it, you should touch it to your head. That's what Khyentse Rinpoche said. When you pick it up, you should touch it to your head. When you put it down, when you finish reading, you touch it to your head. I mean, if you take a break, you take a break, go to the toilet, you don't have to. I mean, the person next to you might think you're going cuckoo. It's respect. You don't have to overdo it. Or when someone's walking in, you're like. You know what I mean? Don't make the Lam Rim another cause for you to go to the 3 lower realms. You know how some people, they recite more mantras, they meditate deeper, and they have experiences, and they go into trance when you're watching. You know, when they're in the prayer, and then people are watching them like, and then when you go to the toilet, when you come back, yeah. There are people who take genuine trances, but you know what? It's hard to tell for normal people. And if you fake it, if you're not taking trance and you fake it, you will take trance later. Because you open up for something to enter. Da-da-da. So one day when you're like, ooh. Because when you're faking trances, you're mocking the spirits, you're mocking the gods, you're mocking people around you, you're mocking the deities around you. So if you're mocking them, they're looking at you and saying, I didn't enter him, why is he freaking out? But one day they will enter you. When they enter you, maybe they make you take off your clothes, make you tie your hair in little with little ribbons, and your name will be Bao Bao. You don't fake all that. You don't tempt them. You don't disturb them. All right? So if you want attention, study, hold your vows to become a kind person. Everybody will pay attention to you. If you want really attention, if you're dying for attention, you want recognition, the best way to get recognition is transform your mind and become a very beautiful person. Sincere, keep your promises. Do whatever you say you're going to do and be a good person and benefit others. If you do that, you'll get all the attention you want, more than you want. Okay, so then when you read the book, make sure it's in a clean, nice place and read it. They tell us don't do this, and then turn the page. I mean, sometimes we all slip like one, cannot help it, like very dry. Right? If you can avoid it, don't. Okay, and try not to fold the pages, because they're holy. If you need to make notes, please make respectful notes. Don't write, you underline that and say, call my girlfriend later. Don't forget. Don't. You guys understand? Write respectful notes. And then when you're done reading the Lam Rim, it is Dharma to read it. Do a dedication. Because whatever you read, it doesn't get wasted. Immediately. Dedicate it. And keep it in a very beautiful place on your shelf. And if you have limited shelf, on this side, maybe you put your Lam Rim and Dharma books, and you have a little space, and you can put your normal books. I mean, it's a respect. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to go home. You buy a shelf. You have imported wood from Italy, put marble on it, bring it back. You buy gold and paint gold. You sell your car. You sell your kids. You sell your wife. You sell everybody. You get the gold. You paint up, and then you bring your Lam Rim book there with your mother-in-law looking at you like, call the ambulance. You don't go crazy. Okay, little pavada, I'm going to sell you because I need to buy a shelf with a Lam Rim made of gold. Buy pavada. I mean, you don't go crazy. You do the best you can. You make it nice. And if you can put little Christmas lights around and make, people, very, very strong, people who understand the significance, they even make butter lamps or lamps to Lam Rim. You say, but it's just the words. No, it is not words. It is Buddha's attainments in the form of words. Now, let's go to the next. You can have visual imprints, you can have sound imprints, and you can have thought imprints. I repeat, you can have visual imprints, thought imprints, and sound imprints. Sound imprints. A visual imprint, thought, or sound. A visual imprint is when you see an image of a Buddha, a holy being, a high monk, a Sangha, an image of Buddha, Tsongkhapa, immediately plants a seed in your mind stream. That seed is planted in the future, you will have affinity with them and be able to practice. That's why in the Buddhist tradition, we put very big statues. So as far as people can see, they can see the statue even from very far away, to put imprints in their mind. People don't understand that. They think it's extravagance. It is not extravagance. There's a basis for it. It is not to show off. It is not extravagance. The largest Buddha statues in the world are in Thailand. Huge. It plants imprints in people's minds to see it 20, 30, 40 kilometers away. Even to wake up, see it, and make prostrations and pray. Inspire them and bless them for that day. That's a visual imprint. An imprint is something that's imprinted on your mind that you carry with you life after life after life. Second thing, thought imprint. Thought imprint is when you are taught by a friend, by a teacher, a monk, your guru, you're taught a concept. And that concept, if practiced, can remove you from suffering, or can remove your suffering. Example, the teachings on renunciation, the teachings on death and impermanence, death and impermanence. When you understand it, and it's there, it's an imprint in your mind. What imprint? An imprint of Dharma by thought. The next type of imprint is by sound. What's the difference between thought and sound? Why? Because thought is when you're conveying a thought and they understand it, it puts an imprint. Sound is when you simply say something like Tsongkhapa. That itself has imprint power because it's that of a Buddha. So that they can be different and also a combined imprint of sound and thought that's possible. So a sound imprint is when you walk by an animal, they have no concept of Dharma. They have no power to understand the Dharma. So when you walk by a dog, which I often do, and you recite mantras, Arabazanadi, Mani Peme Hong, Tari Tutari Tori Soha. When you see birds, you see animals, you see dogs, you see all of that, and you recite a mantra to them, you put an imprint of sound in their mind stream. Why? in the future, that mantra imprinted in their mind will help them to receive Dharma in another life. So when I go anywhere, when I see animals, I recite mantras to animal all the time. And these days I do it openly. Even the people next door, people in the pet shop think I'm crazy. I don't care. If they think I'm crazy to say some weird language to the birds, if it benefits the birds, it benefits them. I don't care what they think. So that's imprint by sound. So the essence of Buddha's teachings can be combined in the Manjushri's mantra, Tara's mantra. All mantras contain the essence of Buddha's teachings, the energy of Buddha's teachings, the blessings of a Buddha. All mantras contain the essence and blessings of a Buddha. So when you recite the mantra, you imprint the power of Buddha's teachings in that being by the power of sound. So by sound, by thought, and by visual. Does everybody understand? Lam Rim teachers, do you understand? You can plant this way. And it'll benefit people, especially if your motivation is to benefit. May this bird, may this dog, may this person, may this poor person, may this cat in the future meet Buddha's teachings. Practice and become fully enlightened being. You walk away, you planted the seeds in their mind. So, since we can plant the seeds of Buddha's teachings in people's minds, by reciting a holy text. Okay? When you recite it. A statue of, oh how auspicious, I just opened this up. A statue of Manjushri could never be bad, but the artist was only mediocre. In other words, only speak about the quality of the artist, for it is not right to point out the faults of the image itself. You see the sound? Every person, every insect, every being that hears the sound, they will be planted with Lam Rim in their mind stream. So in the future, when they come across a trigger point, their mind will open up and they will study the Dharma. So that means even insects around us. That's one of the reasons Tibetan monks debate very loud, hoping that the text they debate on, all the animals in the surrounding forests will hear, all the insects will hear. That's one of the reasons. The monks told me in Ganden. So when you recite the text out loud, the sound also goes into the building. It also goes into your body. It also goes into your possessions. You can even take one of your pendants and put it nearby, or a mala, and recite the Lam Rim and blow on it. The energy of the Lam Rim will go inside. So the best thing to bless a place is if you recite the Lam Rim in that place. The best thing to bless your body is by reciting the Lam Rim, because the words of Buddha's teachings are vibrating through your whole body. It's going through your throat, your brain. Haven't you heard, if you listen to Mozart's music every single day, for 10 to 15 minutes, it is said to help people to concentrate. Kids who are very disturbed, kids who cannot focus, kids who are dyslexic, I read, they play Mozart's music for them for 15 minutes every day. Over 3-4 weeks, the kids are able to concentrate and focus and calm down. Because that type of music hits a certain chord that activates certain chemicals in our mind to calm down. Same thing. If you recite the Lam Rim, that is the sound energy you're sending to your mind, to your brain, to your organs, to your body, to your muscles, to your sinews, to your bones, to your nerves. It permeates your body. And it also permeates the walls, the place. That's why we go to, I went to Lama Tsongkhapa's meditation place in Tibet. I went to Tibet a few years back, and I went to the place where he meditated. And the reason we go to old holy monks' meditation caves is because they've been studying, praying, their mantras, their words, their sound has penetrated the walls. So when we go there to make prostrations and prayers, it blesses our minds. That's the reason we suffer a lot to go for pilgrimage. So when people go to Nepal for pilgrimage, they have to suffer. It's not the same as Malaysia. When they go to India, they have to suffer. The conditions are different than Malaysia. But you don't think of it as suffering, you think of it as purification, because you're going there to do something very powerful. So like that, you can recite the Lam Rim to remove obstacles for the Dharma Center. You can recite the Lam Rim to remove obstacles for yourself, which will be together if you do it at the center. You can remove obstacles for a person you're dedicated to Lamrim from. For example, maybe you have someone that have passed away that you love, that you miss. Well, if you recite the Lamrim once a year and dedicate it to that person, it will definitely benefit them. Definitely. Maybe you have a sick person. Maybe you have a loved one. Maybe you have a wonderful wife. Maybe you have a wonderful husband. Maybe you want your kids to be okay in the future. Maybe you have all that. If you have all that, if you recite the Lamrim, it can be dedicated to them. So when you come for the Lamrim recitations, what I want everybody to understand is this. Please don't think you're doing the Dharma Center a favor. Do not think that you are doing anybody a favor. Do not make your worldly schedules more important than your Dharma recitation and Dharma work. Because if you're going to plan dinners and fun and parties and all that during the Lamrim recitation, obviously you're not a bad person, but you do not know the value of the recitations. You do not know the value. Therefore, you don't make it a priority. The center is set up. The hall is set up. The chairs and people and administration and the sponsors are all set up. All you have to do is walk in and start reciting. How beneficial and easy is that? Everything is set up. Many of you didn't do anything to set up any center or any temple or any prayer hall, but it's all been set up for you, and you have the incredible good karma, good affinity, and good luck to come across a place that's all set up and genuine and real. Imagine you walk in, Dharma, 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 everywhere is Dharma. Whether it's your tradition of Buddhism or not, it doesn't matter. It is Buddhism. If you're a real Buddhist, you accept all. All. Because Buddhism and Buddha teaches you to accept. Therefore, everything's set up. So when you do a Lamrim retreat, Lamrim recitation, you are planting seeds of enlightenment of the whole Kangyur teachings in your mind stream. The whole teaching. You may say, hey, Rinpoche, I don't understand 90% what I'm reading. It doesn't matter. Just keep brushing your teeth. Can you imagine mama explaining to a 2-year-old kid why he must brush the teeth? Because if you don't, you're going to get a root canal. Just keep brushing your teeth. So, do you love your mother and your father? Most of us do. Do you love your kids? Most of us do, even if they're monsters. Do you love your uncles and aunts? Some of them. Let's just be honest. Is there a person you miss very much? Maybe for me, my grandmother. I miss her very much. I love her very much. Because when I was little, she was one of the few people that was very kind to me. If you read on my blog, I love her and miss her tremendously. I miss my dog, Princey. I miss my dog, Halter, who was taken away by the pound. And there are a lot of sponsors in the past who have been helpful and kind to me that I won't meet again. Some have passed away. One of my sponsors in America passed away. He went to sleep. He was about 38, 39 or something. He went to sleep, had a slight heart attack, and passed away. And guess what? He reincarnated back into the center. The Dalai Lama recognized him as the sponsor. He didn't say he's Tserimji's sponsor. Dalai Lama recognized this young boy, and he said, oh, previous life is this guy. And I said, oh my God, that's my sponsor, reincarnated back. And guess what? This guy died, came back, and he's in the center again. Now you listen up. The normal way to do a retreat is you get up at 3 a.m. and you wash, you clean your mouth, you clean your face, you make sure your body is clean. You do not eat. You can have a cup of tea or hot water. And you go into your meditation. You clean up the room, you sweep up, you take the dirt out, and you make fresh offerings. You light the butter lamp, you light the incense, then you sit down, make a good motivation, then you engage in your retreat, whether it's reading Lamrim, reading the Kangyur, doing Yidam Tara, doing Manjushri. And then you break just before dawn. You break for about 1 hour to 2 hours, just before dawn. Then you go have your breakfast, you freshen up, you go pee-pee, poo-poo, you do whatever you want to do. Then after you've had your breakfast, you pee-pee, you poo-poo, you come back and you start your retreat again around 8. Okay, you say, but in Tibet, no clocks. I don't know. That's what my gurus told me. So you want to question me? Go Ganden. You start your second session. Second session. And so many people in the world, Facebook, and ask me, how do we do retreats? Here it is. No more questions, Facebook fans, blog fans, whatever fans out there. There's thousands of people asking me questions. I can't answer all. And sometimes you answer it, it's on another blog post, they ask you again, you're like, okay. So what I do is I just put a link. Here it is. And I put a little link and I put a little comment, something like, no, I won't tell you. You start your second session of your retreat. You start at 8. You do your meditation, your recitation, your prayer, whatever. You don't have to do the offerings again. You don't have to clean up again. You clean up once in the morning. Then the second session, you do everything. Then you finish around 11, before high noon. You don't do it past high noon. You do it before high noon. Then you take your little nap. You take a little lunch. You clean up. Maybe stretch yourself. It's important to stretch or your legs become stiff. And then you start up your retreat again around 2. That is the prescribed time. You don't have to clean up, make fresh offerings. You start around 2. Then you finish your retreat around 5. And then you go have your din-din. You clean up, you do whatever you need to do. Then you restart your retreat again at 7, and you finish at 10 or 11, up to you. Some can finish at 9. Depends on how old you are, how much sleep you need, if you're well, if you have high blood pressure, whatever. Some can finish 7 to 9. That's fine. Then you go to sleep and you wake up at 3. You do that continuously. Some people do that for 3 years, 3 days, and 3 months. Some people do that for a week. Some people do that for 3 days. Of course, how to instill that in Malaysia? The discipline that's necessary, the commitment, and the amount of knowledge you need to know the benefits of that. So last time when I engaged in the retreats in North India, 3 months straight, I did that. Similar to that. Okay? So that's a traditional retreat. Let me repeat to all of you again. 3 to 5, 7 to 11, can be 10 also, 7 to 11. 2 to 5, can be 4, 2 to 5. 7 to 9 or 7 to 10, up to you. You need to sleep. If you're doing a prostration retreat, it's the same thing. If you do a recitation retreat, it's the same thing. Any retreat you do, that's a real retreat. When do you finish? When you acquire a certain amount of numbers. If you're doing a prostration retreat, 100,000, you do that until you finish 100,000. Part of the reason is to instill discipline, focus, and meditation. Action meditation. Okay? Now, in places where Dharma is not strong yet and they don't understand the benefits, so you have to make the retreat rules more relaxed. Hence, that's what I have done. I have not changed the retreat. I have made the rules more relaxed. I ask people to do 1 or 2 or 3 sessions. And when you commit to a retreat, you don't come sometimes. So let's say the retreat is 1 month. Many times I've been in retreat with my teachers for 1 month every day, okay? The retreat can be 1 month, 1 day, or 1 month, 1 week, a weekend. Duration of the retreat, please listen, the duration of the retreat. That means if it's 7 days, you should attend at least 1 session a day if you're busy. You don't attend 1 day, don't attend. 1 day, don't attend. 1 day attend, 1 day don't attend. 1 day attend, 1 day don't attend. Then the benefits are not as great because it's not continuous. So if the retreat is 7 days, if you can attend every session of every day, good for you because you're taking something out for yourself for once in your life. Look, you've been in a retreat your whole life making money and making money. Making money, making work, working hard. You go in the morning, early in the morning, you go for your retreat, 7, 8 a.m. in the morning. Then you come back 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night after you finish your retreat. And what do you get? A car, a house, and more bills. That's your retreat. You've been doing retreat. It's just switching the mindset to what's beneficial. So, if you are participating in a Lam Rim retreat, a Kangyur retreat, a deity retreat, a meditation retreat, any type of retreat, you have 4 sessions. It can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 1. I was in a Vajrayogini retreat in the US while I was working. It took me 1 year to complete. Do you know why? Because I had to work, and on weekends, of course, I had to go out and dance and have a good time, meet up my friends, because Thursday night, my friends start calling me, asking me what we can do on Friday. Friday night, my friends call up, asking me what we can do on Saturday. Sunday, nobody calls up because they're too tired. They were up the whole night. But I did a retreat. I was a young, strapping, delicious young man. And I went out and I didn't do drugs and drink. I don't do the naughty stuff. I do the slightly naughty stuff. No, I don't do drugs and drinking. I never did it because I took my vows already when I was very young not to do those things. So I went on the weekends, and we're talking about LA, not Kuala Lumpur. Here, the most hottest place to go is down the street at Mamak. We're talking about Kuala Lumpur, clubs in the 80s with Madonna and Boy George and Kylie Minogue, although she sat like a parakeet. That time, they said, I like her. It was hot, and we were hot. The clubs were hot. We were beautiful. We weren't allowed to have ugly friends because it would bring our reputation down. Yes, can you imagine a 6'2", 29-inch waisted Tsem Rinpoche with shocking red hair, natural of course, and walking down LA. I wouldn't even look at you guys. You walk by like, oh. Some of you think you're models and you're good looking. Hello, you're 5'10", forget it. You can be a lifestyle model. You'll never be a catwalk model like I was. I know, sometimes people ask me, hey, what you do before? I said, I was a model. They go. They look at me now, and they look closer. They look at me very carefully. They go, oh yeah, you have nice nostrils. I mean, you know what they're doing? They're looking at me to see if anything left of the beauty I was. Like sometimes when people are very beautiful, when they gain weight, they get older and stuff, you still look and say, oh yeah, maybe 20 years ago, yeah, you see his eyes not bad, nose not bad. Yeah, not bad. I can visualize him like shrink down, Now like, yeah. So usually these days, I like to run around and tell people, they ask me, what did you do before? I was a model. And immediately their reaction is, oh. Some of them are quite diplomatic. Oh, yes, I can see that. You're quite tall. When I went out clubbing, before I went clubbing, I did my meditations. I set up my altar, I cleaned up, I offered everything, and I did my meditations on Vanjagini. After I did that, I cleaned up, then I got dressed, washed my hair. It was the 80s, And if my hair didn't come out, because it was long, then we have hair dryers, make sure it's perfect. If it doesn't come out right, listen to this. I make my friends wait, I wash it and do it again. I was very ngao. And then I go out, and the next day I come back, I do my retreat. And on working days, we didn't go out. On working days, I go to work. I had to go to work, sometimes 2 jobs. After I finish work, I come back, I set up and I do my retreat. I did my retreat in my room, and I did it correctly. And it took me 1 year to finish the retreat because I couldn't put my all energy into it. On weekdays, I was working, and on weekends, I was working. But I still did my practices, and I still kept my commitments, and I still did my meditations, my mantras. I didn't use going out and work as an excuse, even in the States when I was a kid, because I knew it was beneficial. Okay, now, a traditional retreat is like that. If you cannot, you can do the way I did it, 1 session a day. Because 1 session a day is better than no sessions any day. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so if it's a Manjushri retreat, it will be different than this, a Lam Rim retreat. Okay, if it's a Kangyur retreat, it will be different than a Lama Tsongkhapa retreat. I'm not going to get into the specifics of a deity retreat or a recitation retreat. Now, when you're reciting, listen to me very carefully. Doing a retreat, the whole purpose of a retreat is to control your mind, to gain mastery over your mind. Because if you control your mind, you control your world. You control yourself. If you can control yourself, you don't make problems for others and yourself. The whole purpose of a retreat is to control your mind, ultimately. Okay? So during a retreat, as part of the procedures, don't think, oh, if I do that, I get bad karma. If I do that, it's bad luck. If I do that, Tsongkhapa gets pissed off. If I do that, I get screamed at. If I do that, I look bad. Forget about all that. Forget about all those little insecurities that you have. When you do a retreat and you keep yourself disciplined, it is not for people watching you or Tsongkhapa is going to get angry. He never gets angry. It is for you to get discipline in yourself. So when you do a retreat, You control your body, your speech, and your mind. If you're normally easy to fall asleep, during a retreat, you control your sleep. You push yourself. You make yourself awake. You do whatever you need to keep yourself awake. You discipline yourself that you control your sleep doesn't control you. Beings who are controlled by sleep are animals. Animals are controlled by their sleep. We are supposed to be better. So during a retreat, you don't fall asleep. Normally, during a retreat, if you fall asleep, you have to recite it over, or what you did doesn't count. Example, if you're doing a deity retreat and you did 10 malas already, if you fell asleep, you got to do it over. The 10 malas don't count. That's the real way. Why? It's not about the rules, it's about your sincerity. If you're doing a retreat for 2 hours with it, after your retreat's finished, you're not going to be a Buddha, are you? Do you think Buddha slept all the way when he was meditating? Do you think Buddha put a bed under the Bodhi tree and slept? Come on. Do you think Buddha was sleeping under the Bodhi tree meditating? Buddha meditated. Nobody watched him. There was no webcam watching Buddha. And then if he fell asleep, his teacher would be, hey, Buddha, wake up. What do you think Buddha was doing under the Bodhi tree? He wasn't doing a Hindi movie dancing around and studying. Buddha was actually meditating, studying, practicing, reciting. So if you're in a retreat, this is your Bodhi tree. And this Bodhi tree is cool because it's got aircon. Think about it. So Buddha is under the Bodhi tree meditating. When you're on retreat, what do you think you should do? Meditate, recite, focus, push yourself to control your mind, or sleep. And if you got bladder problems, we have 1 or 2 students who got bladder problems, and they make a big show to go out to release their bladder. It's like a Chinese dance. They go out like that, they come out like that. You got bladder problems? Okay, during retreat, what to do? Either that or flood the retreat hall. Get up quietly. Don't say, oh, excuse me, uh-oh. Don't say anything, just get up, quietly go, release your bladder, wash your hands, and rinse your mouth. Very important. Rinse your mouth, wash your hand, come back, and resume where you started. If you're doing a deity retreat like Manjushri, and you did 10 malas, when you go to the toilet and come back, you can continue, it's still 10 malas. It's not like, oh, gotta do it all over. Because last time I didn't know, when I had to pee, I did like 10 malas, like, oh, I wanted to finish, And then, after the retreat's finished, I told my guru, oh God, it was so horrible. I had to pee, I couldn't. He said, you can get up and pee. I'm like, can you imagine holding your pee? Sometimes you poo-poo for 2-3 hours, and you're doing your mantra on wind. Yeah. And when we did our retreats in North India, we didn't have indoor toilets, we didn't have running water, we had to go to the outhouse. And there's a hole in the ground, you pee and poop, and you put all your pee and poop with everybody's poo and pee. It's very powerful manure. And if it's cold and really freezing, it's freezing. To go from your room down and then out and then walk a distance and go to the outhouse and then pick up your robes and close up when there's wind because it's open outhouse, If it's raining, that's it. Umbrella la. I'm not kidding. And then you gotta squat over and then there's that thing. And sometimes the hole on the bottom, the poop is this high. So I used to take, I didn't, because sometimes the poop come out of the hole so it's like touching my boobie. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. The poop is so high. I'm not putting anyone down lah. The poop is so high, it's like a pyramid, and the tip is like coming out of the hole. And I'm like, oh no. It's like here when people don't flush the toilet. It's like there, why didn't you push the poop down lah? Because they leave a stick there. They leave a stick for you, you take the stick, you go like that. I'm not kidding. So the tip of the poo goes down, so when you go there, it's not there. It's like, yo, why didn't you push your poop lah? Here's like, yo, why you didn't flush your toilet? So I'd be freezing, I'd be tired, I'd be doing my retreat, and I walk out there, and I lift my robes, and I'm that outdoor outhouse that's, no roof, nothing, huh? And then I'm about to squat, and I go, oh no, out of the hole like this one stick out. I'm like, oh no, and it's yellow. So I gotta take the stick, and I'm like, and then sometimes I stick to the stick, so you gotta go, oh yeah, so dramatic. And then you squat and you do your thing. It sounds funny, but that's the way it was for us in India. I'm not complaining. I loved it. I would do it again. I love my retreats. I would do it forever. Okay, so then my later I found out, I go to the outhouse, I come back, I wash my hand. You know, we have a little water outside, wash it, rinse my mouth, and I resume where I left off. So you resume where you left off. So if you need to go to, but important, listen up everybody. On the way to the outhouse, to the toilet and back, you don't talk. You don't start making phone calls. You remain silent because it's part of discipline. You remain silent. You control yourself. Does everybody understand? Okay, so when you attend the Lam Rim retreat, please have a motivation. Please have a motivation why I am attending this retreat. You know, don't be like some of those people in small towns. On weekends, they go to the shopping mall. They don't want to buy anything. It's just free aircon. So don't come here for free aircon, huh? You have the motivation. Are you going to do this for your beautiful mother and father? Are you going to do this for yourself, for the future, for the center, for our dreams and aspirations? What? Are some of your kids monsters? You know why they're monsters? It's a reflection of what you've done in your life. Your attitude and who you are. Most of the time, not all the time. Most of the time. So you should dedicate for them. Fix up what you messed up. You should do your retreats well. It's time to face up to what we've done and what we don't know. It's time. So when you come to do retreats, when you come to KH to do Lam Rim retreat, you come, make sure you're clean and you wear very comfortable clothing. Color doesn't matter. And then you come, you do 3 prostrations, or you make the offerings. Make offerings every day, because it's a retreat. Retreat to collect as much merit as you can. And then you make 3 prostrations, you sit down, and your talk in the retreat, during the retreat after, try to make it more wholesome talk. Oh yeah, did you hear he's getting divorced? And then, oh, money, more money, more money, more. It doesn't match. Try to make your talk more wholesome. Why? Train your speech. Train your speech. And then during the retreat, focus. Concentrate. Make a good motivation. I dedicate this for what? You want your business to grow? Okay, can. You can do this retreat for your business. You can. There's 3 sets of motivations. Whatever it fits into, it's fine. Initial, middling, and advanced. 3 types of motivation. So it's the initial motivations for oneself. That's fine. And most important, when you're doing the chanting and you're doing the recitation, make sure your voice doesn't annoy another person. Why? Some people I've seen in the past doing recitation to try to do it louder to push another person down. Like, I'm holier, I'm better, I can recite better. It defeats the whole purpose of the retreat, because the whole thing is to destroy your ego. The retreat becomes an ego factor. Nobody cares how good you chant. What's important is that you gain something from the chant. The chant is a vehicle, it's not the end itself. So especially doing talk, even more important when we're doing tantric practice, to be as humble as possible. In fact, real practitioners hide their good qualities and make themselves look silly and make themselves look down. Why? So they control their ego. Real practitioners. Therefore, while you're doing this retreat, you should think like that. Remember, while you're doing a Lam Rim retreat, everyone, while you're doing a Lam Rim retreat, during the period of retreat, this is what you should do. If you're not vegetarian, I recommend you do vegetarian. Why? Collect as much merit as possible. If you don't want to, it's up to you. As much as possible. During the Lam Rim retreat, try to release animals. Arrange for it to be done. Okay? During the Lam Rim retreat, restrict your mind and body from negative thoughts. As much as you can. Of course, you can't control 100%. It's discipline. It's creating discipline. During your Lam Rim retreat, any retreat, be extra aware of your surroundings. Make yourself get used to being aware, especially of other people's needs. Okay, during your retreat, don't make up lame excuses. If you do the retreat, it benefits you and no one else at your level. So you better be there and do it well. If you committed, you signed up, be there and do it well. It's not a social gathering. It's not something for fun. It is very serious. It's in fact the most serious thing you are doing for yourself. You want your departments to grow, you want your work to grow, you want your business to grow, you want your family to grow, you want good things for your family and people you love. Well, the best way to do it is by gaining spiritual merit for them. Because, as you've read in J.K. Rowling's speech, a great education, a lot of money, high status, having a great job is not guaranteed that the problems of life will not get you. People think if you have all those things and you work very hard to make a lot of money and you spend your time making money till you're bald and you're old till you die, all I need to do is make money. They think that that would protect them from the adversities and difficulties in life. They're fooling themselves. Why are they fooling themselves? Because do you think just because you're rich or you have a lot of money or a lot of property that difficulties in life never hit you? In fact, it hits you even more when you're rich. You will suffer more. You will have more problems because you're rich. Doesn't mean it doesn't hit the poor. It hits the poor. So the point of what I'm trying to say is by focusing all your energy on money, fame, acquisitions, cars, houses, as much as you can get. If you focus on that and think that is going to bring you happiness and security, you're fooling yourself. J.K. Rowling said that. I put her speech up. She spoke for Harvard 2008 graduating class. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, she's a billionaire now. She spoke that. And I found, and I put it up on my blog. Go to my blog. It's on the homepage. You can see it, her speech. And I gave a commentary on her speech. You know why? Because her speech was overwhelming. It was so powerful. When I read it, I cried. I was so touched. I was so moved. And you know what? I'm going to read that speech over and over again from time to time because it is pure Dharma. And another thing the speech made me realize was Dharma and truth are one, no matter what face you put on it. This lady spoke powerful. And she's not talking about religion. She's not talking about religion at all. She's talking about what she went through for the last 20 years of her life and how she suffered in her 20s and 30s. She has a huge degree. And she says that all that she had never protected her and shielded her for all the problems and sufferings that she encountered. And she said to the graduating class of 2008 Harvard, she was asked to talk at Harvard, please, you young people, do not think that your life is about acquisitions and what you need to get. A car, a house, the latest technology. Your life should not be about acquisitions. If you think your life is about acquisitions, then your life is empty and will become very empty in the future. This is J.K. Rowling speaking. She's not even talking from a religious point of view. And what have we worked for to our whole life? Why do our kids grow up spoiled, untamed, undisciplined, not listening? Because all we fed them in their life was make money and you'll be happy. Well, all the people who had money, are your kids happy? Did they grow up wonderful? Did they grow up beneficial to people? Did they grow up helpful to people? If they didn't grow up helpful to people, why would you want to add that knowledge to your kids? So all the people who are super rich and they have everything, are your kids happy? Did your kids grow up well? Did they turn out perfect? Or did you continue the cycle that you were given? I'm not blaming anyone, and I'm not pointing any fingers, and I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm just telling you what the Dharma is telling you. So if you're going to spend your whole life getting names, fame, position, the latest dinner party, fun, job, if you're going to spend your whole life on that, you are fooling nobody but yourself. Because in the end, you're going to be old, you're going to be wrinkled, you're going to die, you're going to have no one, and none of your acquisitions can help you in any way. You're basically wasting your time if you think that's going to bring you happiness. Having said that, you should have the things that you need for life. You should have. You should work. You should be productive. You should. But what's the difference is working and thinking that's it, and working to sustain your Dharma practice. There's a difference. You use your example and the people you know. Did wealth bring their kids happiness, fulfillment, a stable life? Did wealth bring their kids that? If the wealth did not bring the kids that, why do you think by you doing the same thing, you'll bring the same thing to your kids? Some people move to other countries, Australia and whatever, for their kids. And their kids grow up, they talk back to their parents, they're mean, they're rude, they don't respect, they abandon them, they go off, they're gone. And they move there for their kids. So my point, move to Australia, work, buy your car, but also instill in yourself and your kids something higher, spiritual practice, spiritual values, so that they can have the wealth and they can have the good things, and it doesn't make them suffer. They use it to benefit them, not to create more suffering for them. You think about that. Remember, I'm not saying this to point fingers at anyone. That's not my intent. No, it's not my intent. But I'm telling you the truth. So we have to come to a crossroad in our life. Are we doing it for our kids? Or are we doing it because we're just greedy? Are we doing it for our kids so they look good, so they make us look good? It's a face thing, or is it really for them? If it's really for them, will it benefit them when they grow up? We got to think carefully. What are we doing with our kids? Are we encouraging them to win, get the highest grade, make the best money, look the best, get the prettiest girl, get the prettiest boy, eat at the best place, wear the best clothes? Is that what we're teaching our kids? Because if that's what we're teaching our kids, that's what you're going to get from your kids when they grow up. They're going to be only interested in the beautiful girls, boys, fun, the latest technology, going out, having a good time, and that's all they will be interested in. And you did that. You did that. Because that's all you knew. Maybe you didn't do that because you're evil or you're selfish. That's all you knew. That's all you had. You don't know any better. Parents are not to blame always. Parents, by giving wealth to kids or making it real easy for kids, they're not doing it to destroy their kids. They do it because they love them. That's all they know at this time. But parents and people who have heard the Dharma, you got to switch your stance. You got to switch your ideas. You got to switch your way of doing things. So what is this monk telling you? Don't make money, don't get a good education? No, 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 no. Do it, but also add one more subject in their life. Spirituality. And they will never practice spirituality if you don't practice. And if you've been going through hell in your life with and without money, then they will go through the same thing. They will go through the same thing you went through because they look at you as an example. Most of the time. So do I want to make all your kids monks and nuns? No, of course not. No. They don't have the merits to be. They don't have the merits. So what am I telling you? We have to have a middle way. That's why I have a few programs in KH for kids to get together. And I encourage kids to go. The parents who don't send, I don't tell them to go anymore. I just leave it. Because when the kids grow up and they have their own life and they do their own thing, the sufferings come up, all I can say to the parents is, I told you so. Not in a bad way, but really, I told you so. Well, what else can I say? While your kids are under you, they're with you, they're under your control, you better give them something that you never got. Dharma. Because if you don't, and they fail, it is your fault. It is your fault. So if you have put the value in your kids as money, fame, name, position, acquisition, the latest car, the latest girl, the latest fashion, the latest trend, to make it, to be popular, to be good, remember, having all those things didn't protect you from pain and loss and suffering and loneliness. So it's not going to protect your kids either. So having beautiful things, a beautiful husband, beautiful life, all these acquisitions didn't protect you, it's not going to protect your kids. And you're not bad for doing the best you can with your kids. You just didn't know. So I'm not saying you're bad. I'm saying you don't know. But if you know and you don't do something, then you are bad. Therefore, in today's world, to fight materialism is, as my guru says, is like a white crow among the black. But you know what? Your kids are only going to be with you for a few years, and they're going to watch you every single day, what you do, what you say, your mood swings, your up and downs, how you talk, how you act, how inconsistent you are. They're going to see everything about you, and it's going to be imprinted in their mind, and they're going to grow up, and they're going to be adults, and they're going to know what to say, and they're going to counter you. I did that with my parents. They're not always going to be little whatevers. They're going to grow up and have a brain too. So if you instill the value system of spirituality in them, then they will have a balance. They'll have a good job, they have a good family life, they can have beautiful kids, whatever they like. And they also know how to share and give and work for charities and do something good for others. And when the adversities of life come to your children's doorstep, they will know how to handle it because their beautiful parents prepared them with Dharma. because their parents love them so much, they prepare them with Dharma. Love is not a degree. Love is not money. Love is not a Ferrari. Love is not a business. Love is not getting an FD. That is not love. That can be a part of love. Love is when you teach your kids to grow up to accept and be ready for adversity, ready for difficulties, and ready for all the things that life will bring them, rich or poor. Don't you notice some people, when difficulties come, they throw a BF, they scream, they yell, they're unhappy, they run, they do all kinds of things because they weren't prepared for difficulties in life. How about some people that no matter how difficult they are, whatever comes their way, they're okay. They can put up with it because they were prepared for it when they were growing up. Some kids are quite nasty. They get back at their parents because they saw the contradiction when they were growing up, and they get angry. They don't know how to deal with the anger, so they get back at the parents. I've seen it many times. My point, this is not a session on telling you you're such bad parents, because you're not bad parents. Every parent wants happiness for their kids, but the method is what matters, parents. The method. And parents are not perfect. They make mistakes too. They're just older people who were kids. And that's very important. So if the parents practice Dharma, learn the Dharma, and instill the Dharma, I guarantee you it will make a difference in your kids' cases. You know how many times I get people come and tell me how nasty and scary and monsters their kids turn out to be? What pujas is there? If I had a puja for monster kids, I'd be rich. I'd pack it and I'd publish it through KMP, how to turn your monster kids into angels. I'd be filthy rich. I'd win the Nobel Prize. Yeah, they live the life the way they want, they act the way they want, they're irresponsible, they're responsible, they're greedy, they're not greedy, they don't want to do this, they want to do that. The kids watch that, the kids grow up to be just like them, they don't like it, they go to Rinpoche, please help me, what do I do with my kids? Look, you should have given me to them when they were 2 years old. When they grow up, they'll be wonderful little monks and nuns. I mean, you don't bring me your kids when they're 40. You don't bring me your kids when they're 30 or they're 20 and they're already monsters. And you know, while I'm talking to you about your kid, the little kid's setting up dynamite on my throne. And if I have methods for your kids and you don't cooperate, what do you want me to do? I love you and I love your kids, and I don't want you and your kids to suffer. But if you don't cooperate with the methods and you have more wisdom than me, then by all means you do it your way. But when the trouble hits, look, don't say Rinpoche threatens. People say that, oh, you didn't do what Rinpoche said. He said he threatened you that you're going to die. I didn't say that. People twist it around. I don't threaten anybody. I just scream. Don't bring me your kids when they're 40. And you know, please, Rinpoche, do something. You're a powerful High Lama. Yeah, I'm a High Lama. I'm the living Buddha. But you know, your kid is a monster. What do you want me to do? Whatever I tell them not to listen, why? Because that's how you raise them. So if you don't like that, then you do something else with your kids. You learn the Dharma. And if you're Christians, you learn Christianity, real Christianity, not the fanatical type running around converting anybody. Oh look, there's a clock. Do you believe in Christ? Real Christianity is beautiful, beautiful. Whatever your religion is, you learn your religion really well, and you transform and you become a beautiful, giving person that's not so materialistic, that also gives back to society, and instill that in your beautiful kids, whatever religion you are. We happen to be Buddhists in this room, so we talk about Buddhism. You learn Buddhism well. You learn the Lam Rim well. You go to the church. This is a church. This is a Buddhist church. You come to the church. You do your prayers. You volunteer. You go help with the different departments. You show a good example, and then your kids will follow your example when they get older, because they'll remember. If you always don't have time, you're always busy, you always want to go shopping, you always have fun, your kids will want to do the same thing because they follow you up most of the time. You think what you want for yourself and your kids. You think. What you want for yourself and your kids, you think carefully. Are you living your life through your kids? Or are you going to let them live their life? Because if you're living your life through them, you want to make sure they make it to prove that you didn't fail in your life, then you're using your kids for yourself. That's not very nice. My stepfather did that to me. He wanted me to grow up to be everything to make him proud. He told me to make him look good. He's Asian. To make him look good, to make him have face. And if I did anything wrong, you know what he said to me? You make me lose face with all my men. with all my friends, all my Kalmyk friends, my Mongolian friends, you make me lose face. None of their sons act like that, talk like that. They all play soccer, you don't want to play soccer. You make me lose face, you're a bad son. I'm like, but I don't like soccer. I want to go meditate. None of my friends' kids meditate. Only fanatics go to the temple every single day. We are lay people. We're supposed to get married, have kids, and have families. If you don't do that, you make me lose face, I'm a failure. He told me this almost every day of my life. So you don't think I don't know what you're going through or what your kids or yourself going through. I went through the same. Look, in case you didn't notice, although my features are very sharp, I'm Asian. I mean, on occasion with the lights off, they did think I was Theory's twin, but you know, the lights was off. So I know what everybody goes through. You give your kids what you are. Because they had the karma to be born into you and to be exposed to your environment, to grow up like you. They had the karma to be exposed like you. Just like I had the karma to be born into the area, to be near one of the most renowned masters in the world, in New Jersey. Can you imagine, my master arrived in 1971, I arrived in 1972, 6 years old. 7 years old, going on 7. That's my karma. So when I saw this master, opened up the seeds of my life. Of my previous life, I guess. So when your kids, the people say, well, what about karma? Well, it's their karma to be born into your situation, and that you will affect their future. Think about that. So get involved at the center. Get involved on a regular basis. Be committed. Whatever you promise, do it. However you treat your teacher, however you treat the Dharma, however you study, however you transform, however you act, will be an imprint on your children's minds. And you know what? I know everybody in this room loves their children more than themselves, perhaps. So why don't you give the best of the best? Give them a good education. Give them good morals. Give them a little bit of money. Make them work for it. And you set an example for them to do Dharma. Otherwise, why are you working so hard? It's for your kids, right? So once you give them all the money, they spend it, they lose it, they don't make it, they fail in business, they come back to you for more. Is that what you gave them the money for? No. You gave them the money to be happy because you love them. So do Dharma now. It's never too late. It's never too late. Should we do Dharma so our kids grow up well? Well, that's one small reason. That's a good reason. Small doesn't mean they're insignificant. If you do it for the bigger reason to become enlightened, all the small, inverted commas, reasons will fit right in. So when you do a retreat, when you do the Lam Rim, every single person who hears it will be blessed. And seeds of verbal sound imprint will be planted in their minds. When you do recitation Lam Rim, you will plant the seeds of enlightenment in your mind. Even for the rest of your life, if you don't know much Dharma, if you do a Lam Rim retreat once or twice a year, every year, okay? You plant the complete teachings of Buddha in your mind stream so that in your future life, you'll have even a better chance to do Dharma. You plant the seeds in your mind. Some people say, oh, I'm very young, I have time. No. How do you know when you're 30 and 40, something won't pull you away that you can't do Dharma at all? How many of us have dreams in our 20s that we never fulfill because we got pulled away by the circumstances of life? So never push it for another time. It never comes. It never happens. Now is the time. So when you recite the Lam Rim and you sit straight, whether on a chair or on the floor, you sit properly and you dress properly, it's part of discipline. It's a discipline in your mind. When your mind's disciplined, you can achieve anything. Anything. And when you're reciting the Lam Rim, don't just recite it, like mindlessly focus on the meaning. If there's somebody reciting off-key or a little bit off and is bugging you, it's your meditation to tune it out. It's your you don't write them a note. Dear Lam Rim retreatant, your voice irritates me. Can you shut up? Here. No. In such a large group, there's going to be bound to be one or two people. They're okay. That might irritate you. Whatever karma you have with them, I don't know. So you don't focus on them. Why do you focus on them? Focus on Lam Rim, focus on other people, focus everybody else. Because inevitably, there's going to be always one or two in the audience who does something different. Okay, they do something different. They recite off-key, they recite louder so you're impressed with their spirituality. They take some kind of trance to some deity. Hello! Nobody may take trance in my center because I am in charge. No spirits may enter my center. No spirits may enter the halls of Kichara House. It is blessed and protected. No evil interferences, no gods or deities may interfere in Kichara House within these walls. People are protected. I am the way. I've always wanted to do that, kind of be like a messiah. You ever watched Jesus of Nazareth? I did years ago. I was like, I am the way. I always wanted to do that. One of these days, I'm going to have Sing Piao play dead and then say, rise. And have Miss Han film it and put on YouTube. Look, I can raise the dead. I am the way. I want to do that. Oh, I wish I had supernatural powers, but too bad I don't. I wish I had powers and clairvoyance and I can control all that. But one thing I can tell you for sure, evil spirits and negative spirits cannot enter Kichara House because I have done powerful pujas and prayer here to protect everybody. I don't have power, but the prayers and pujas do. So everybody here is protected. It's protected. I don't like mystery and magic, although I'm going to have a paranormal department. Why? I would like people to really just transform their mind. That's what's going to help you. If some of you have clairvoyance, great. I don't doubt it. You can see the future. You can feel spirits. You have the third eye. You know what? I have 4 eyes. Okay, whatever. Okay, you have 3 eyes. I have 4 eyes. There you go. Now where are we? So you can see the spirit. I can see more spirits. How do you like that? Okay, so, I don't want people telling me they have clairvoyance, they have these incredible dreams, they knew I was their lama in the previous life, they can fly, they can control spirits, they liberate. Maybe you can do that, maybe you can, but you're still here with me. So what does that say? You still get old and die. You're still in samsara, I don't see halos coming out of your butt. I don't see lights coming out of your ears. You can see spirits, it doesn't mean you're better. Maybe it's even worse. So you don't come to Kichara House telling me you take trance, you can take spirits, because you know what? If you're faking it, I will know. And if I know, I will expose you. Why? If you can do it openly, I expose you openly now. So if you're taking trance openly, you want everybody to give you kapas and ang pao? I say, no, pass ang pao here. So if you want to take trance at home on your own, privately, that's you and your family. I don't care. But you can do it here, openly, then I will expose you openly. Why? Because I'm a mean monk. I believe people can take trance. I believe deities can take trance. It's for real. But you know what? Sometimes it is real, sometimes it's not. So to get attention by our powers, trance, clairvoyance, dreams, knowing things in the future, I will test you. Very simple. What am I holding in my hand? Dream that and tell me tomorrow if it's wrong. I issue a certificate, fake dreams. And if you're taking trance of a deity, I'm going to ask you questions. What was the Vajra name of my guru? And if you can't answer, you get a nice slap. Either it's evil spirit or you're pretending to be evil spirit. I will test you. There are ways to test people who are in trance. There are ways to test people who go into trance to see if it's real. And I'm not bad at that. Because you know what? I'm a ghostbuster. So if you want to come to Kichara House, you be good little boys and girls. You come with your open heart, sincere, open your mind, learn the Dharma, be kind and sweet, and I will be the best guru to you. Every time I see you, I give you a kiss. You're such a wonderful disciple. If you're a bad disciple, how are you? If you want to come to Kichara House and be involved with me, be real. I'm real. I talk for real. You've seen my blog. I talk openly. I'm an ordinary monk, ordinary person, and I don't have any powers. I'm not supernatural. I believe in Buddha's teachings 100%, and I practice, and I try to share that with others. That's my purpose here. Once in a while, I get a premonition. Once in a while, I get a good dream. That didn't come from me. That came from maybe Tsongkhapa or Buddha or my Dharma protector who gives me signs to help because I'm alone here. Poor me. Yes, I'm alone here. I don't have my gurus here. I don't have my teachers here. You guys have me. I don't have anybody. So occasionally I will have dreams about the future and it comes out true. Occasionally I might have a premonition about the future and it comes out true. I mean, when you lie 1,000 times, one time it come out right. If you try enough time, one time you'll come out right. They go, see, Rims, you got clairvoyance, see? I know, but it's like I hit the jackpot finally. So if you say it enough, one day you're going to say the right thing. They'll think you have clairvoyance. And lucky Henry was in the room when I did it. Now, once in a while I do have premonitions. Let me just tell you honestly, some feelings and whatever. But they're not from me because I believe in my deities. And I make sincere prayers. And sometimes, once in a blue moon, when my mind's clear and things are all right, it can come to anybody, not just me. But I won't rely on those. What I'm going to rely on is this. Now, I am very happy that KH is doing a Lam Rim retreat. I am very happy you have organized it and you're going to be involved. Do it with a very good motivation. Do it with a wonderful motivation. Today, I spoke about the benefits and why and where it came from. I told Mr. Ng, KH Ng, because he was in a liaisons meeting earlier, I told him a few weeks ago that I want to come here and explain because I am so happy you're doing this retreat. And I want all of you to get the best out of the retreat. That's why I thought I'd come here and explain what it's about. So it's not just mindless recitations. I wanted you to get knowledge, and now it's recorded. I don't ever have to talk about this again. So if you forgot something, go to the blog. It'll be up within a few days, I'm sure. And then the Chinese subtitle, give it 1 or 2 weeks because the Chinese translation department is in China. No, I'm just kidding. No, they have a lot of work. The Chinese translation department, they have quite a lot of work. A lot of work, and they work very hard. Like Dr. Lance and Ye, all that. They work, and Wai Ying is very good. They work very, very hard. So I'm just making a joke, but they work very hard, and I appreciate them wherever they are. I know where they are. And so, whatever your retreat is, conclusion, whatever your retreat is, my friends, have a good motivation. Where should you look at the motivation? In Yonten Shigyurma. It's in here. What's Yonten Shigyurma? Here. Yonten Shigyurma is a prayer we can do before an event. You don't have to look at it right now. It's here. I'm not tricking you. Okay, I'll show you so you guys can pay attention, now open your books. Yonten Shigyurma, foundation of all good qualities. Yonten Shigyurma is composed by the great eminent second Buddha Tsongkhapa, and it's the condensed Buddha's teachings in a dedication. Okay? So before you start, you do that, and when you dedicate it, you do that. Have a good motivation. If you don't know what your motivation is, it's compiled in Yonten Shigyurma. Whatever Yonten Shigyurma says, say, I will have that motivation. Then you come and help. Don't come when the retreat has started. Come ahead, clean up, sweep up, put the cushions away, do whatever you need to do, okay? Help out and get everything done. Don't come in like, what are you, Diana Ross? Just walk in and sit down and flip your hair. Okay, you guys do everything. Don't come in, 250 Diana Rosses, because then I'm going to have to sweep up and keep the keys. Okay, now, do it and think for what? What motivation? And in the future, my friends, you listen very carefully. I have a few exciting things up my sleeve. Besides my fair skin, a few things up my sleeve. That's a private joke, the fair skin one. Now, I am getting permission from my guru, long distance, so it's going to take a little time, to give massive, open, public Tsongkhapa initiations, perhaps once a year. Because on Wikipedia, they wrote that Tsem doesn't give initiations which is true. He showed me on Wikipedia last night. They wrote very interesting things on me on Wikipedia many times. Okay. So the reason I don't is because during Tsongkhapa's initiation, we need to give the Bodhisattva vows. So when you get the Bodhisattva vows, you have to hold it well. If you don't hold it well, it will shorten my life. It will also bring bad karma for you. So prior to any initiation, I have my beautiful KH team teach people about the Bodhisattva vows. Some people have received Vajrapani in the past from me, Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara. So I need all of you guys to study up on the Bodhisattva vows and know you can carry it and hold it. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get my teacher's permission. Can I give Tsongkhapa's initiation once a year as a very powerful tantric blessing as opposed to a practice? If he says yes, I'm going to do that. Otherwise I won't, because I don't sell Dharma. And when I give Tsongkhapa's initiation once a year, it will be for selected people, meaning no kids, young kids who can't stay away because it's not going to help you, it's not going to help them. And people who cannot, who are sick and not well cannot come. Because it won't help them, it won't help you. So I will give that, and once you get Tsongkhapa initiation, you can do his actual sadhana of generating yourself as Tsongkhapa. Generating yourself in the tantric path as Lama Tsongkhapa. And the mantra and the practice is much more effective. And the initiation is called Je Tse Zin Ma, where Tsongkhapa is in this form. Holding a long life face, holding a lotus like that, exactly as you see here. That's why I put the statue here. Je Tse Zin Ma. So, I was thinking about that, to do it openly and publicly, because I used to do it years ago, but I stopped because not many people understood Tantra, so why waste it? So I'm going to get my guru's permission. If my guru says fine, then I'll do it. If he doesn't, then you'll never hear about it again. It's simple for now. And on top of that, with Venerable Losang Shi here, I will be engaging in the near future on Nyesun Kundro initiation for a select few, and also Vajrapani initiation. Okay? Those who are very old, those who are very sick, those who are fear of some sickness, then those initiations will benefit them very much. Very, very much. Okay, I'll be giving them in the very near future. I've already selected the names. And then I've already recorded a message for people who will receive those initiations. It will be played for those receiving initiations only. It will not be on my blog or YouTube because it's very private information. And on top of that, Losang Shi will be here for a few weeks with the permission of the monastery, because he's very near getting his Geshe degree. He has the permission of the monastery, the administration, to be here to teach us more traditional, real pujas of Ganden Monastery. So right now we can do a lot of pujas, right? How many, Paris? About 7, right? We can do about 7 traditional pujas like Drocho, Shinye Dende, Gyapshi. We can do, what else? Menla, medicine Buddha pujas. We can do a few real pujas that they do in the monastery. It's because I've called a qualified monk to come and train you up. So Losang Shi, Gen, what we can call him is we call him Genla, Genla. Gen means teacher or elder monk. La is respected one. How do you spell that? Gen-La, Genla. Okay, so you can always call him by Genla, Genla, Genla. That's a very respectful way of calling him, and it's nice. And he will be teaching us even more rituals and pujas that are very rare, very unique, special of Ganden, so that everyone here can do the pujas. And we can do it for other people. So I have a puja group, a puja committee. How do I pick them? People who always volunteer, people who are always here doing work and they have time, they commit. I pick them to do the pujas. Why? Because if you're usually not here, you don't commit, you don't put yourself in, and then I need you to do puja later, you don't show up, how? So someone's very sick and then we need to do medicine puja, and normally you don't show up. So when I call you to do medicine puja, you don't come and show up, the person died, how? I mean, it's a very practical reason how I pick people, isn't it? It's a very practical reason. So people always show up, they keep their commitments, they always come, they always get involved, they're involved in one departments, and they do that regularly. Then I choose them to learn the pujas, because these pujas are not rituals or empty words. They have power. Some of the pujas were composed by His Holiness Kyabje Trijang Rinpoche. Some of the pujas are composed by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. They're very powerful rituals. They're not just nothing, and they've been done in Ganden Monastery for 600 years. I'm not able to have 6, 7, 8, 9 monks here all the time to do pujas, so I decided to train up lay people. So how do I train up the lay people? The stipulation, stability, you're here, you commit, you're here. That means if I need you to do a puja for someone, you're here. I know you'll be available because you normally are available. If you normally are not available, cannot this, cannot that, cannot this, cannot puja la. And it's a privilege to learn from a qualified monk, a real Sangha, a 600 100-year-old Ganden tradition, a set of pujas to perpetuate the different types of Buddhas and deities to make a change in other people's lives. Example, we have pujas that can purify a room if you see spirits. There are people who come to me, they see things in their room. I have trained people to do pujas there to clear the interference. Oh yes. So therefore, I'm going to train them up. And the puja committee, basically headed by Paris, or some of you know her as her fake name, Jamie Koo. Her real name is Paris. Because when she met me, I asked her who her idol and her person she idolized was. She said Paris Hilton. I was like, yeah, that was her idol. That was who she thought was the best person in the world, Paris Hilton. So I was like, okay, your name is Paris Lau. So Paris, this one's Paris Koo, is in charge of the puja committee. And whoever goes to learn, she gets permission from me because I need to pass down the pujas to people who will really take it seriously and carry it on. And we'll continue these pujas into Manala Kichara and KWPC and after I am gone. Because I want to ensure the people who do the pujas do it real, not a corruption, not wrong. It must be exactly like the way we do it in Ganden Monastery. Then it will have effect even if you don't have power. Even if you and me don't have power, we're normal people, we do the pujas correctly, it will have power. So therefore, the pujas must be taught no corruption, no delineations. It must be perfect, exactly like Ganden. So that's why I need the people who learn it must be sincere, dedicated, and once they learn the puja, they don't set up a center down the street as having a puja house. Then you'll get a lawyer's letter from me. I need sincere people to do it. Because if you're sincere, you do the pujas well. For the people you're doing the pujas for, it will have effect. It will change their future for the positive. Does everybody understand? Okay, so Losang Shi doesn't speak a word of English. Too bad for you. So regarding that, you have to go through Paris. And trust me, she's a mini Tenramchi. Temperamental and very diva-ish. Good luck. And the only way you can get her in good books is tell her she's slim. And you got to say it like you mean it. Okay, she's really good at this because if you just tell her to get in the puja group, she knows. Because she really knows if you're telling her the truth. Because there have been times I go up to her and go, oh, you look slimmer. And she'll be like, no, I don't. I'm like, oh. So she's really, you got to be careful. So how to get in Paris' good books, you got to tell her she's slim and mean it. I don't know. These days she is slimmer than me. But then everybody in this room is. Well, except for one or two, my twin in the corner. I won't mention LEW. Hi, Mom. Okay? You come in with a good motivation, you do it for the person you love, you do it for the aspirations of the center, and you come to clear your obstacles and other people's obstacles. And in the future, I will have more retreats, Manjushri retreats, Tsongkhapa retreats, Setup retreats. Same purpose, same method, same way of doing it. What I taught you is traditional, as in the monastery, everybody. Okay? And sometimes, when you're feeling down, depressed, a little bit lost, a little bit disheartened, a little bit sad, instead of sitting in your room with a box of tissues, feeling sorry for yourself, asking for sympathy, or going to mamak, read a story on one of the High Lamas. Read a story about on R.K. Rowling. Read a story about someone who's made it. Go to Reader's Digest. Reader's Digest is wonderful. They have beautiful stories about people's triumphs, heroes. So when you're down and depressed, don't stay down and depressed. When you're a little bit disfigured or a little bit sad and unhappy, a little bit, not feeling good, instead of staying that way, find ways to make you feel better. On my blog, I've blogged a lot of beautiful stories. Inspirational stories, stories of High Lamas, great teachers, people who've made it, and think about how they went through their problems, difficulties, and they made it, and you should do the same. And if you're in any department, in any of KH departments, I will say very openly and honestly, without any ego, you are very privileged. Work hard in the departments because they will become bigger and more beneficial and more stronger as time goes on. For us, there's no way but up. For us. The reason is because we're getting stronger by the year. Don't miss the boat. Bring Dharma to your kids. Bring Dharma to yourself. Bring Dharma to your parents. Bring Dharma to your parents. How do you bring Dharma to your parents? By transforming yourself. You don't need to go home and start teaching your daddy Lam Rim and tell him how good you are. You transform yourself, and that's the Lam Rim. Lam is path. Rim is graduated. Graduated path to enlightenment is Lam Rim. I told you the lineage of Lam Rim, where it came from in detail, as explained to me by my teacher. I explained to you the purpose of retreat. I told you how it affects us and puts visual, sound, and mental imprints in our minds. I told you the procedure. And I explained to you motivation. I think I covered everything tonight for a retreat and also a Lam Rim retreat. Okay? It's been, as usual, a great pleasure to speak to all of you and to share some of my limited knowledge with all of you. I'm very happy to see your participation. And I implore you, and I request you, and I really, really from the bottom of my heart request you to take Dharma into your heart and practice from your heart for real. Don't leave it as a side dish or something beautiful or when you're free or when you're retired or something as exotic or something as a Tibetan kind of exotic kind of experience. Take it as a path. Take it as something that will really change your destiny, because it will. Experiencing something from Dharma is personal, but we need the support of the Sangha. We need the support of the center. We need the support of each other. Experiencing attainments, experiencing the taste and the path and the understanding and the realizations of Dharma is definitely personal. But at our level, we need each other's support. So if we contribute to the center, time, energy, resources, commitment, if we contribute to the center, then we contribute to the center to remain as it is and grow so it can benefit other people and yourselves further. Let me repeat. Experiencing Dharma's results is a personal experience. It's unique for all of us. But without a setup of each other's support, you will never get that personal experience. There's a lot of people running around on Facebook saying, hey, you know, Dharma is me, I can practice my own, I don't need a guru. Maybe you can, but not everybody's like that. Even Buddha had a guru. Maybe you can. It's not for me to judge, but from where I come from the lineage of the great masters such as Trichan Dorje Chang, Paponga Dorje Chang, and Song Dorje Chang, they said we need a guru. They said we need a place. So therefore, this center has come together, and it will further grow and continue to benefit you and everybody else if you contribute, if you help. If it's contributing by cleaning, by volunteering, you do it. That's why I say stick to one center. You only have this amount of time. If you break it up even smaller, you can't help any center. Your contribution will be very small. Very small. Contribute to the center. Be part of the center. Find this your spiritual home. Don't go to the center looking for faults and problems, looking for people's difficulties. Go to the center looking for good things. Because if you're going to look for bad things, you can find it anywhere and every place, even in a Dharma center. If you're going to look for bad things, you can find it everywhere. Look for good things, because we got enough bad things. Yes, sometimes you come to the center, you come across some member that's a monster, not polite, rude, mean, a little bit off. We got a lot of off people here, a lot. But think of it this way. Think of it this way. When you go to the hospital, why get turned off? Everybody's sick. I mean, it's a hospital, right? So why do we come here? Because we are sick. Don't throw rocks at me or shoes. So we come to a center because we're not well, we're not happy, we need something, we need find help. So sometimes if you come across another person who's just like, who's a little difficult, maybe mean, maybe off, maybe not well, you say, oh, I came to the right place. Why? This is the right place to seek help. But if you're totally crazy, no, you go to the mental ward. I mean, even that I cannot help. If you're totally off, some of you are, I think, then I can't help you because that's way beyond me already. Even the Buddha couldn't help you if you're off. Gotta wait till next life. Okay, so when you come here, you're going to come across some people who are difficult, funny, have bad moods and bad manners. Once in a while, everybody got their moods. Look at you. Look in the mirror. When is you're always happy and chirpy and fabulous. Instead of saying, "Ayah, get your so bad. Ayah," people like that one. You say, "Oh, how can I help them? Oh, but I came here to get help. How come I can help them?" Look, you help everybody everywhere. I said the center is protected from evil spirits. I didn't say it's protected from monsters. Okay, some people are monsters in the beginning. They become better when you show them love, when you give them gifts, when you talk to them, and you give them your heart, and you're genuine with them, and you're kind and patient with them, then the monsters turn into beautiful people. So don't come to the center expecting perfection. Come to the center expecting to achieve perfection. So contribute in any way you can to the growth. Why? Because we are here to benefit. And that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I will say goodnight to all of you now by finishing the Setra black tea and the mantra, and then the dedication. I would like all the committee members to gain attainments, to have stability in their practice, and to bless their lineage, their children, their family, everyone with the sacred Dharma, that they will have the same benefits. And I pray that the Lam Rim committee will achieve Vajrayogini's practice and complete her 11 yogas and create Vajrayogini Mahasiddhas in this region. And this life and all lives, may the Lam Rim committee and all those involved, and all the liaisons, and all the staff, and all the departments, and all the volunteers, and all the members, may they never be separated from the path as revealed in the Lam Rim, spoken by the perfect Buddha, Kyabje Popongka Dorji Chang, and Lama Tsongkhapa, Kyabje Trijang Dorji Chang, and the great incomparable Atisha. And again, let me reiterate, all these came directly from the victorious one, the victor himself, Shakyamuni Buddha, the victor. I'd like to dedicate it to Mr. K.H. Ng, and to Mr. Ngao, to Ms. Yok Fui, to Janice Kwok, to Kevin Tan, to Ms. Kim Lee, and to Ms. Han, to Doreen Teo, and to Kwok Wai. I'd like to thank you very much for organizing this. And I think it's going to be very, very successful. Very good.